So today, let's get this little TTX Air set up and dialed in for the evil offering. Oh. Which way? This way! This video is proudly supported by my friends over at Jensen USA. Thank you, Jensen. I've got links to all the shocks we talk about in the description below. Those links take you over to Jensen, and anything you purchase when you're at Jensen will help support my channel, so thanks in advance. Beyond Jensen, I am supported by P&W Components, Industry 9, and Shimano. In the last year, I have got a few things no charge from Marzocchi, which is Fox's sister brand, but I am not sponsored in any way by a suspension brand. In this process of dialing in the evil offering, there's been one component that I keep swapping over and over, and it's the rear shock. I was able to borrow a DPX2, which has been my favorite shock the last couple years. And I threw this DPX2 onto the offering. I'm currently running a 0.6 volume reducer. As you know, I've got this Cascade link on here to further increase the progressivity. What I would like is to run less damping than what I currently am, have a more progressive air spring so that when I push into it, it doesn't dissipate energy, but rather pushes me forwards. I picked up this sweet Öhlins TTX shock. Öhlins is a motorsports brand. They make a lot of stuff for motorcycles, whether it be street bikes, track bikes, dirt bikes. I've heard quite a bit about Öhlins suspension over the years. I've ridden Cane Creek shocks which use Öhlins technology. So today we're gonna swap out the DPX2 for the TTX Air shock.
On the far right, you see the Fox Flow X2 shock that came with the evil offering. The X2 offers separate high and low speed compression and rebound adjustments, as well as an on-the-fly climb switch. The DPX2 offers external low-speed compression, and then there's a high-speed lever that then turns into sort of a pro-pedal lockout. It also offers low-speed rebound, and of course you can put in volume reducers. This shock is the Öhlins TTX Air 1 model, and it features externally adjustable low-speed compression, and then this lever here adjusts the high speed. For the high speed, there are 2 settings, and then the switch continues on to provide a bit of extra damping to help with pedaling. The shock has a low speed rebound, and again, it's easy to add volume reducers. All 3 of these shocks are twin tube damper designs. However, there is a really big difference between the Öhlins and the Fox way of doing the actual damping work. Fox uses a series of shims on the main piston to help control the damping. Then there's fine-tune adjustments done through the external adjusters. The only illustrations I could find of the X2 were from the older model, and I think this is still pretty close to the current one. But if you notice, at that center piston, that main piston there, oil is passing directly through it. This is very different than how Öhlins does their damping. So you notice their main piston in the middle there, it pushes the oil up to the top to the eyelet. Oil then returns through the outer wall because these twin tube dampers have 2 tubes, one on the inside of that main piston, one on the outside where oil can return from. And oil never passes through that main central piston. Instead, all the damping happens up at the top at the eyelet where the adjusters are located. Ah yes, the DPX2. Well, once again, this works more similarly to the X2 than to the Öhlins. If you notice that main piston there, yep, oil passes right through that. Despite being a twin tube design, this is still a very different take than the Öhlins technology. I'm not here to say one's right, one's wrong. I've enjoyed riding all 3 of these shocks, but the feel is definitely different.
I did buy this with my own money. I didn't pay full retail for it, but I did pay for this. And here we have volume reducers. My wrists are so clapped out from so many sends and flat lands that I can't turn things very well. Okay, and we got one little mini spacer in here. Glad we popped this open. So I just put the volume reducer in here with the sleeve on the outside. Here is what the sleeve looks like. I don't think I can fit 2 sleeves. And the offering is not on the website yet, so I can't see what they recommend. Their website is really good, but unfortunately, a lot of the English is very much translated from Swedish. I don't understand all of the stuff on the website. Hey, their English is better than my Spanish, for instance. And I spent a lot of years trying to learn Spanish. Okay. Tighten this down just a little bit. So this is very low torque, 6 Newton meters. 6. This bicycle has an amazing amount of accessories on it right now. Ooh, Yeah, it kind of does feel like it's in between the DPX2 and the X2.
With this shock mounted up to the offering, now's the time to get out and try it on the trail. I admit it, I came into this experience a little pessimistic. Those Fox shocks work so well, I didn't really expect there to be any improvements. However, the first few rides at the shock and I was immediately impressed at how it felt open and easy to get moving, it had a very low breakaway force, and the progressivity ramp was spot on for me and my riding style. Right away, I'd say the TTX's spring felt more appropriate for me and my style than the other two shocks it had on the bike. While the X2 was maxed out with volume reducers, the DPX2 admittedly had room for a one size bigger reducer, as it had a 0.6 in there and likely would have preferred the 0.8. Maybe I'll try the DPX2 again before returning it. Now onto the damping. The initial part of the TTX stroke is noticeably more smooth than with the DPX2. I would even say it's slightly smoother than the big ol' X2, though the difference is greater when compared to that DPX2. Sorry for all the acronyms, guys. I don't name these shocks. I have not deviated from my initial setup of both 6 clicks of low speed and rebound. I also haven't had the need to add more high speed compression. Why? Well, the shock is just downright awesome. I am consistently finding myself having more fun on the offering with the TTX than I was with either Fox unit. I do think a big part of that is due to my riding style and preferences, but holy cow, the bike just became a ton more fun. I find I'm able to better preload the bike on takeoffs as the shock moves through the stroke more easily and finds the progressivity ramp at a more appropriate place. On landings, there's sufficient damping to provide good control, and I haven't had any rebound issues with any of these 3 shocks. Where I really notice the TTX air is in the corners. The increase in smoothness, both in damping and in the actual air spring, helps maintain that rear tire traction at a level that I've never really experienced before. The rear wheel finds traction where I don't expect it to, like on wet roots and such, and it's got this lively open feel that still encourages my active riding style. This is just what the doctor ordered, as I wanted to make this bike feel more playful. Since filming this, I removed the Cascade Components link and went back to the stock unit. I found I do prefer the stock link with the TTX, as the initial breakaway force on the shock itself is very low. With that slightly lower initial leverage ratio of the stock link, the bike has just enough more support that I can get into that more progressive portion of the stroke a little bit sooner. The elephant in the room is durability. I've been riding the shock for about 6 weeks now, and I haven't had any issues. At the same time, that's not a long duration. I have heard chatter about these shocks having issues on certain specialized bikes with that shock extender, but to be fair, a lot of shocks struggle a bit to hold up on those bikes. Perhaps you can leave your own experiences down in those comments below. If you're looking for an incredible piece of suspension technology, the TTX Air is a solid option, and again, I've got a link to it over at Jensen in the description box down below. At the end of the day, all 3 of these shocks have worked well, and I would feel comfortable recommending any of them to all of you. Which one you get should totally be up to your preference and budget.